All right, welcome back to Stacking the Deck. That's
The
right.
deck.
I'm here with the most important character, Easton Evans. Kurt's
What's up,
over
gang?
here, boomer soonering his toilet,
Yes,
and we're just gonna get after it.
right after it.
That's right. That's right.
No
So we got
toilet.
some. We don't no big news this week, right? Just another TCG. Well, I guess right. I don't know. I got some
Mm-hmm.
news to share. I got
Uh-oh.
let's see. Got some Cryptid Camp in the mail. Shout out
Oh.
Cryptid Camp. That's right.
Shout out to the
Uh,
team.
love them or hate them. There is no like. I don't feel like there's any neutral with Cryptid Camp right now.
Uh-uh.
I mean, it's like super polarizing. People hate them. People love it. I like the vibe in their Discord. It's not bad. So
That's always a good start. If the community is friendly and there's enough people that are informed to kind of direct new people and even advocate, I think that you have a really good opportunity to seize the market, or at least like have some wheels. Because at this point, we can't, with Kickstarter games and new games, it's not about the value, it's not about anything else. It's about, do you have wheels to stand the test of time or this season of your TCG life? And I think that's a hallmark, is having a good community, especially that's nice to newbies.
yeah, I mean, I'm still out on the game, so I'm not gonna give any glaring like positive accolades. I haven't played it yet, but
Mhm.
I like I think Kurt's gonna post a box opening here soon, so keep an eye out for that. But the cards look nice, and what I do know about the game, I kind of like the grid style. As far as indies go, right now, my favorite indie game is Sorcery, actually, and even a couple days ago, actually, I called Kurt. I was like, "Hey, man, um, I watched Sorcery's organized play video. They're still vague in that. So if y'all haven't seen that video yet, go check it out. And it's still kind of vague, but they got their Crossroads events, which are regionals coming up, and then they're going to have a World Championship this year, I think. Yeah, this year, and
Mm.
uh, depending on if the juice is worth the squeeze, I'm gonna get after it. Right now, the prices on the cards look pretty fair. Um, I just think Sorcery for me is, for my personal taste, is my favorite indie right now. So
I mean, this is what I'll say. I've been under a TCG slumber for quite some time. I've dabbled, I've played, I've joined a lot of discords. I won't say a lot, of a handful of discords, and I don't really want to back anything until I'm like sure, because again, I feel like there's a level of responsibility. I'm not just gonna like tell the community or those who are listening, because although I think we should be responsible with our voices, and I don't want to be like hyping you up and be like, this is the next big thing and the team is amazing, and yeah, like I'm not gonna do that. But Sorcery was the only game that I traveled to play at a LGS, and I did have options to play at other places, or other games locally, or not even locally, like in the surrounding area. But I did go travel 30 minutes to Bell's card shop in North Austin. Really, it's more like Round Rock, which from where I live is around 30 minutes. And I would play on Fridays until they ran out of Arthurian Legend, and then that's when things kind of slowed down, and I was just like, what's going on here? But
yeah,
don't, I mean, hey, I like the artwork, I like the grid style. It takes a little time to get used to it, but it's cool.
yeah. The game, I think the gameplay is pretty solid. I feel like it has it was never built to maybe be a super competitive game, but that's has stopped us before. Look, we played MetaZoo.
All right.
But I think Sorcery has a lot of good going for it. My biggest criticism is, man, they were so slow to roll out their OP program. You got to capitalize on some of your momentum on launch, even if you don't have hard dates. Start teasing out something for people to look forward to. At least that's my 2 cents.
If you're a TCG and you don't have a comprehensive roadmap, like I don't think you can do the whole like come to this big mega tournament, because you need the smaller tournaments to build some momentum going into a large tournament. And although we do give old MetaZoo a lot of flack for this, but they did, in my opinion, they did a very good job of rolling into the Caster Cup of like, hey, badger LGS store owners to like have events. You need to play in one of your local events to be qualified to play for the Caster Cup. Then you're not only getting reps, and that increases the skill level, the skill ceiling, and you just don't have people coming to the World Championship not knowing how to play, and everybody's looking at your game like, what's going on? They don't know what's happening. It helps add to the legitimacy of your game. So if you're somebody who's going to have like a massive World Championship, major national championship, you need to work the year round to like, hey, these are the events, or at least do a accelerated version of that. And I think that's what old MetaZoo did particularly well. And it also helped them get in the LGSs. Now, the problem was they didn't capitalize on post Caster Cup when everything was at its highest. But leading into the Caster Cup, I think they did a really good job. And hopefully other games can take that and roll with that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest growth cycles you can go through for any company or game is new product launch, right? So anytime you have a new product launch and you run your go-to-market campaign or whatever that might be, that's the best opportunity to start capitalizing on that momentum. So not only did we just launch a new product, but in the coming months, we'll be announcing and rolling out our OP program. And here's some things that, here's some things to come. And you tease a little bit of that. You got to like trickle it out. On a similar note, I mean, there's no necessarily correlation here, but Houston Collectacon is coming up here, I think, this weekend. I live in Dallas. I don't have really a good reason not to go other than I've just been busy with work. But for me personally, I think a stronger motivating factor for me would be if there was like a tournament to play in. But wait, Ed, there is a tournament that you could play in. Sure, but it's another one of those like non-official like
community driven.
Yeah, it's a community driven one. So it's like you can win boxes, which boxes are nice. Like I'd play in a case tournament if it was in like an hour-long drive from me. But other than that, it's not quite worth the almost 4 hours, or it's like 3.5 or something from Dallas. So I don't know. And then other than that, like, again, I'm not trying to poo-poo the con experience. I think it's great that MetaZoo's there. Every week when I meet up with Kurt at Bar Locals, we play MetaZoo. I think it's a fun game. I just don't think there's enough to really like walk in, at least from me, like the collectible or competitive aspect to really go out of my way to engage with it. That's kind of where I'm coming from.
I rock with you on that. Because I mean, I do have some other obligations, school reunion. I really don't want to go, but kind of have to go. That being said, I am not bullish on the fact of community-driven events before company-driven events. And I say this because and I don't think MetaZoo will ever do this, but because of the team and the staff they have. But one, I don't want there to be more incentive for people to do stuff without there being already like structured fundamental background, like something going on in the background. Like, hey, I'm all for like Star City Games, and I'm all for like a community driven effort on the front or on the event, but we need to have the bare bones of an OP system and a trajectory where that's headed beforehand, because as we saw with old MetaZoo or any of these other games, when you start to input a lot more energy, that's where they kind of coast on, and I don't want them coasting on nothing. This is new MetaZoo. I have full faith in them as far as them executing the plan and them already having this stuff in order. But for us, we have to see it. I've already talked to them. Again, this is not a slight to them. They're an amazing team. It's just that we know, and as trading card enthusiasts, how it's easy for a company to take their foot off the gas once they know that the community will step up, whether it be with creating websites, creating marketing collateral, doing the evangelization, taking care of your judges, etc., etc. I'm not for community driven until I see them push out the entire OP, then we can say, hey, we can fit into this. Or you, and also I don't want there to be a because as we know, the community members can get a little bit too personal and think that this is an opportunity for them to be, oh, this is my job or this is
Networking, or
my
they're going
role.
to try to weasel in like, hey, now
No, you're not getting a
part of the
job.
company.
This
Yeah.
is not for the company. You're not going to position yourself to like, no. This is on them. You can supplement. And then if they find value in that, then there might be some opportunities. But a lot of times people do stuff and they have on the backside expecting like, hey, this red carpet rollout for what you did. No, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and you're wasting your resources, and you're not gonna get a pat on the back. You might get a card. You might get a native pack Ninja Start into your face. That's probably about it. So I'm just letting y'all know this now because I hate seeing people get taken advantage of, but they know and they're willing participants in their demise, and I don't want to see that happen. So hey, you do it if you want to, but you ain't gonna get no cookie at the end of this one.
Yeah, I mean, the MetaZoo teams, listen, they're too mature to make like they're not gonna let the community steamroll them or pressure them into doing something they're not ready to do yet, which is kind of how Meta 1 worked. I'll be honest, I feel like we peer pressured the original company into
Caster Cup.
Yeah. We put the pressure on them. Granted, that pressure I think still needed to be there. Like I don't know. I will give some, roses to Meta 1 in that, like, okay, what first edition or their base set launch, they hold a release event in Colorado. It was an official one, like they got stamped cards that was kind of cool. I'd like to see for this event, you want to generate some FOMO from people like me who aren't able to go. Bring a stamp machine or something. Do something special with like a card for the winners of the event, even if it's not like a alt art printing, but stamp it. Do some. I don't know what it is. Charlie can lick it. That would be cool. I don't know.
First licked card.
Hey man, listen. Oh look, it's Kurt Tax Masterson.
Hello. I have returned just in time for my favorite topic.
Yeah. So the Schrodinger's eating a card, right?
Yeah, Schrodinger's card eater. That's my favorite topic.
Yeah.
No, y'all are talking about the unofficial Houston tournament for MetaZoo and Collectacon, and oh god, this is not the way, guys. This is not the way. And I think we all share that sentiment.
Yeah.
That doing things out of the goodness of your heart, brother, it's cool that the company's like, oh, we'll boost the support. Okay, it don't cost you nothing to throw a booster box in, man. Like, that's nothing. I'm not throwing my hands up for some MetaZoo packs. Like maybe if they said, oh, you guys are putting a case up. I think, Immortal's behind it as well. Oh, you guys are supporting a case? We'll add $1,000 prize pool.
Or get Poncho to make a custom art card as a prize. That would be cool, right?
Anything.
Yeah.
Anything that isn't just more product.
Yeah.
Right? There has to be. But I say all that by saying that this is not the way. We are not, like you guys just said, we are not Meta 1. We do not have to grassroots this game because it is backed by a legitimate company.
Yeah, they're the real deal. I mean, they don't need us to like rinky dink it together.
They don't. And the worst part is, and I don't know the back end of all this, but Immortal had to develop in conjunction with a few other people, had to develop a deck builder so that people could even have a platform to create decks and build decks and submit them for this event. And it supposedly is going to work with the events on the Play Network, but not really. Again, I don't know the back end of it, but that was a part of the Play Network that we're looking at now from Cardio. They had a deck building tool. They had TTS integration. Why is it not there now? What happened? Why did it, again, this have to be grassroots and just done out of the goodness of your heart for seemingly no reason? I know everyone's excited to play. Brother, I'm excited to play too. I'm sure we all want to play.
Who's excited to see Air win?
It's still
yeah, you ain't wrong, bro.
Look.
it's still fun to play cards.
It
I
is
know that
fun.
might be
Yeah.
a
And again, like everybody's gonna discount MetaZoo. They're like, "Oh, the meta's air," and it is air, like definitively, okay. But the game's still like mechanically, functionally, it is a fun game.
it's fun.
I can, yeah.
I think for a lot of people, especially those that didn't pivot off into other competitive card games, that it's just going to be fun to play cards again.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say, God, I hate that this is like the opening event. I hate that it's not something by the company. I hate that it's like done through the community. Community driven tournaments are not what we need. We are not. We're
not
we're
again.
past
Not
that, guys.
again.
Yeah,
We're too old for that. We've
Well-
already got we'll pulled over our eyes once, and not only that, but you have with these community ran events. It's like, there's just no point. You're renting out a hotel. The space. You got to get somebody judging. This just doesn't put a lot of pressure. I want them to take the step. It's like dating somebody. Sometimes you got to let them come to you. You can't always be the person asking them on a date. So, all right, they turn you down for Tuesday. You're like, what about Wednesday? What about Thursday? What about Friday? No, sometimes you just got to let it be. And then they come to you, and then you have a little bit of leverage.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, the worst part of it'd be one thing if it was like a new community, right? So if it was like I don't know, Cryptic Camp. So hey, we're Cryptic Camp and we're throwing a Collectacon tournament. Okay. Well, maybe that is grassroots, right? It's a small TCG, and not only that, like a niche one. And the community, maybe even if they are mostly maybe former MetaZooers, it's still a new IP. But to go back to be part of the Meta One audience and go back and run it back the same way, be like, yeah, let's do it again. No,
man. Charlie Brown.
And again, on top of that, this is not the same company. Like, this is not like you're not gonna incur favor. You're not gonna be like, well, yeah, y'all ran that tournament, so now we got you with the hookup. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna help you.
It ain't. It's not. That's not how this works. This is not an indie company. This is not. You will not incur any favor. Now they might send you that Christmas card.
Yeah,
because y'all was upset about that.
Shout out that Christmas card for real.
Maybe you'll get that 1 out of 100 Christmas card at the end of the year, but like, dude, this isn't it. It's not. I don't know. And it almost felt like MetaZoo was obligated to provide boosted support, right?
Pretty much. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, if they didn't, wow, that just makes them look shitty.
Yeah, they kind of again almost bullied into it, right?
Yeah, they like forced their hand into that, and like, even though their organized play isn't ready, even though they don't have a solid structure, even though they say it's coming, it's like, well, we're gonna do it anyways. I'm like, well, shit, I guess we'll give you some boxes that we were gonna sell at the convention anyways, and it's.
I still, though, like a real, not again, beggars can't be choosers or whatever, but like, this is a Meta One thing, so I wouldn't expect them to do it. But I mean, come on, let's be honest. You could be like, hey, Poncho, look, they're running this event after the con. What can we give you? X hundreds of dollars to make like, not to sound like that's not nothing, but like, Poncho makes some money, players get happy. Yeah, just give them the art card.
Make the nerds happy. Make them a card. I mean, I like Poncho's cards.
Me too. I mean, everybody does. I would have some FOMO, being like, dang, I really wish I went to that tournament. Could I got a Poncho art card? I don't know.
You're lying about that. You would have had no FOMO. It's like, well, I would have had. Maybe I'll have some FOMO.
Okay,
he's lying through his teeth.
I don't know, man. Okay, whatever. I don't know what would cause me to have the FOMO, but I'm a very charitable. I think about the people kind of person. Okay, so I'm just thinking like that's what other people would want. You know,
it'd be a nice touch, right? They did that for some of the Collectacons, right? Yeah. They had metal cards, sketched and doodled.
And-
for the winners of those. And
what I would do if I was the company, I would totally be like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Part of our collab here, we'll get you with the Poncho art card. Yay, thanks, MetaZoo. And we got you with a case. Yay, thanks, MetaZoo. But what we want to do is we want to get event coverage of y'all playing. And then you just you film that, get photos of it, and you roll it into your marketing material. So once you start doing OP, you have the ownership of all that content, and it's actual real live people playing your card, and it's not employees. That's the other distinction. You have to have gamers,
people,
gamers playing your game. And I don't know, like that would be what the company would get back out of that.
That's the move. I mean, free marketing material is the move.
They actually had a perfect setup, because Houston Collectacon would have been the perfect setup for the last Houston Collectacon, where we had the Nightfall release with the starter deck tournament and with a couple of Nightfall packs. And there you go. Like, they could have done something like that, and that would have got everybody. They would have had, they could have filled it up with 50, 60 people, recorded the film. They could have filmed it, had some good marketing collateral. That's all they really need to do. And it reminds people, it makes people forget about last Houston Collectacon, because honestly, that was a pretty monumental point in the MetaZoo journey, was Houston Collectacon. That's where pretty much everybody met each other. Either you were able to play for the first time or get your hands on product for the first time. They could have done it in the right way and put a nice bow on their marketing plan if they would have had something there that wasn't community driven. But hey, I have more faith in them that there'll be better stuff down the road. But again, this is just me being critical.
And then the positive note, right? They're going to have the convention packs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That everybody loves those, and I think they'll be doing like stamps for them, and you can trade them. There's going to be some other cool stuff too. The merch looks good, and then on top of that, they'll have the con exclusive promo.
Yep.
They're going to have a lot of cool stuff there for people that are actually at the event that will enjoy. But it will, it's more collector focused. That's kind of what it is, and that's okay too. But for those that are new to the podcast, which nobody at this point, I'm sure, but like we have more of a gaming focus, so like that's where the criticism. Even then, I don't feel like we're really giving criticism. It's more of like just observations, really.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys all said this at the beginning, but this is like no slight to anybody involved in that tournament. Like they're all very good people.
Yeah.
Really pillars of Meta 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immortal. I know Servion has a big hand in it, and he's responsible for a lot of like the back end tech of the Play Network and all those behind the scenes stuff.
For sure.
That was all Dom. And nothing but the utmost respect to those people. I know Smoke Squad Collective, they're doing big things with it as well. Again, we are not knocking the people doing it. We are just a little disappointed that they are. Because this is not how, at least I am. I'm just like, man, and maybe that's just because I can't go there. Maybe that's why I feel like this, but I wanted it to come from the company. And if it wasn't ready, it wasn't ready. Like if it wasn't going to happen, then it wasn't going to happen. To force it is the bad part. I don't like that.
And that's the people.
I had this conversation previous too with some folks that wanted to be involved with their own the tournament, and maybe that's just because I'm a little shyster. But I first my response was like, "Well, what's in it for you?"
Yeah, what do you get out of it? Yeah, exactly. It's not, brother, it ain't for the love of the game no more.
Heart of the cards are done.
Yeah, it's over. Like we already did that.
What's the end game? Now I'd understand if it was run by like a cardio, right? Or I saw Immortal's name tied to it. Shout out Immortal. Immortal's the GOAT, like awesome pillar to the MetaZoo community, always has been. But I just can't help but wonder again, I just go back to like why? I don't know. And maybe that's just how I operate. I'm like, well, what's in it for Ed?
I mean, it's true.
It's valid.
Yeah.
At this point in time in my life, right? It's like I got a kid, I'm busy with my full-time job. For me to really take out the time and effort to travel, go to the con, hotel, all that other stuff. And then not only that, but I can't play in the event. So like I'm like for the people running it, right? So it's like, wait, am I going to be a judge? Am I going to stream it? Am I going to be registration? Like the administrative features of running a tournament, that doesn't sound fun to me.
Yeah.
Like-
Real quick, I think also you don't need to figure out what is going to be your player pool, because we don't know how the distribution works. We don't know how many people have cards in hand.
That's
we don't
right.
know how many people are able to play it to create a deck. We don't know any of that stuff. We went from having online tournament, because let's think about it. In the past, it originally started with, well, playing at Houston was like a starter deck tournament. Now I can see if they did something like that, but it's full blown main decking, like the full. You needed to maybe have like a online event, see what your player pool is looking like, who's going to travel, what are what's going on here, and then did the in person.
You know, one of an observation, and maybe I don't know if this would work for MetaZoo or not, but I liked this original strategy. Maybe these days are behind us, but there was 2 pro support events that MetaZoo was a part of. The first one that was Cryptid Nation First Edition, so there was no Nightfall at the time, and in Fort Worth they ran an event, and MetaZoo was there as a side event to a Magic tournament. And I forget which kind. It was like a pro tour or what. I don't know if it's pro tour or not, but it was a massive Magic tournament. Like hundreds of people were there, and then MetaZoo was off to the side with the vendors, basically, where everybody's selling the Magic cards. And it was Texas Ted, and he had theme decks, and you basically rolled for the theme deck, and you could get in a. No, it wasn't free. You paid, I think it was like $10 entry, and you would get like a theme deck, and then based on what you win, you got to go to the prize wall. And the prize wall was crazy for MetaZoo because the point system, I don't know what it was. It just wasn't as valued as much as like the Magic products. So anyways, my point being, like, being tied to a big TCG event like Magic, I think is super helpful. Maybe not in MetaZoo's case. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but I really liked that approach too, where it's like, and this is before they had OP. This is before they had anything. They were just trying to get people to play the game at some of these events. And this was first edition Cryptid Nation. So,
the good old days.
Yeah. Now I'll be honest with you. I was like, okay, look, I just got $10 for this theme deck, and this thing's selling for like 60. Of course, I didn't flip it. I cracked it and played it, but that blew my mind at the time too. I was like, this is value.
For alligator doing was god awful.
Man, I don't know how, but I ended up winning with that Iceman deck, and I was like, this deck's trash.
Frozen.
Yeah, Frozen. Dell and Leia, they were there. They were the judges. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. So we're not being doom and gloomers again. I want to reiterate that too. We're not hating MetaZoo. I think MetaZoo is a great product. I think that it's obviously going to take some time to get OP, like real OP up for it. I just hope they don't drag their feet like on the sorcery time scale. Like they kind of need it. You missed that part of the podcast too, probably, Kurt, but we were talking about sorcery's OP and everything. And I'm interested in throwing my hat in the ring now that I see an OP, road.
Yeah.
Even without their like set concrete dates and timeline, knowing that it's a video, like they talked about it publicly, influences me to go and actually buy cards and make the deck that I would play at a competitive event.
I think that's funny. You guys talked about that. If you go to their Sorcery's website, where they talk about it, I think I am featured in the little article that talks about it. I think my picture's on one of theirs.
I've seen that, or I've seen your photo, but I haven't read the
Master Shyster Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt Evie Tax Master.
Hey man, they didn't get my permission for that. What the hell? What's going on?
But that's what MetaZoo. So listen, even if they are not providing, like, I guess they're providing the case maybe for the tournament, although that's not clear either. That might be Immortal's case.
No, I think that's Immortal's case. I don't think that's. I don't know how. It just says. So I'm looking at their post directly. It says we've boosted tournament pricing, added door giveaways. Hell yeah! Am I going to get me a solid maple door? Hell yeah! Love that. And some of our team will be there to hang out, support, and bring the hype all night long. Don't that sounds forced. I don't really like that, but that's what they said. They didn't explicitly say what they were doing. It's just that they were doing it.
Well, whatever they do, whatever.
support
What?
them.
Yeah, however they want to negotiate it, they need to get after it and at least capture some content of the event.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's at the very least like you need photos of people playing your card game. Go to Sorcery's website too. I mean, we just shouted that out. Like they have that. You know, you look at organized play and it features people holding cards,
playing cards. Who would have thought?
That's like the best marketing you can have for a TCG. That's always what I advise. I'm like, the sooner you can get like video or photo of non-employee at a card shop holding your cards, the more real it becomes.
Exactly. And I don't know if you guys fully talked about like Sorcery's organized play, but man, I got some thoughts on that. Although it's good, man, it feels almost too late. You know,
that's what I'm saying, man.
I was telling them I was going on Friday nights to go play Sorcery, but once they didn't have anything and product dried up, I was like, what am I to do? I played with the snowball, and I was cruising. That was how I got my like first win in the tournament. I snowball per game, and
rolling boulder.
Yeah, now it's like a little too late.
You know, you can look at Sorcery as a means of they did everything right except for a slow organized play rollout, because unfortunately, just the reality of it is Sorcery has lost quite a bit of its player base. It is not the hype of beta. It certainly isn't the hype of early Arthurian Legends, because remember, the only tournament that really Eric's Curiosa has a hand in supporting officially is Gen Con. And that's because they're the ones at Gen Con. It's not Sorcery Con, it's not the Courtesan Cup or any of that stuff. It's them. It's Eric's Curiosa that's at Gen Con, not a grassroots entity. So those, you know, and they'll be tongue in cheek. You know, at the last Sorcery Con last year, they you know, almost everyone from Eric's Curiosa was there in attendance. It wasn't their event, but they were there as special guests, and we had a ton of artists. It was great. It was wonderful, but it still wasn't an Eric's Curiosa event. It was still had to be, you know, funded and led all by grassroots, by Sorcery Con. And, you know, Dave does a great job. Floating Skull, shouts out, does a great job at that, but it still wasn't the company. And, you know, they made us all these promises of saying like organized play's coming, and brother, that was last year, you know, and now we're just getting the first little crumb, and I don't think people are going to come out for it. Like it's bad. And I say this because there's no one that comes and plays at our locals anymore. It's just the couple of people that we've always had there. No one new showing up to play the locals, and maybe that was a fumble with their most recent store kits. They were just all draft kits. They just sent, you know, draft kits and beta product and play mats, and there were no promos that were like weekly promos that you could hand out to your players every week. And maybe that was a little bit of the fumble. Maybe for a lot of people that was the nail in the coffin of saying, all right, well, if they're not going to support us, then we're just not going to play the game anymore. And I hope it comes fast.
Hey,
I need it.
Everybody's gonna say the collectors the collectors will hold up the game. Look, that's what everybody says. It's the collectors.
I remember hearing that. That ain't true at all, man. The collectors, you can only collect so much, right? You collect whatever the thing is that you want, and then what? And then what? You sell your stuff? I don't know, but
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, this is again a cautionary tale for these indie TCGs. If you don't get the game up and running and have visuals of people playing. And not only that, but you get data and metrics from people playing. You get to know how often are people going to local game stores, what regions are hotbeds to where I need to kind of like maybe add a little gasoline, maybe even have a tournament, a big national tournament or something like that, or regional tournament there. You get all this stuff by having in-person events, and you get that by fostering an organized play scene. But what a lot of TCGs are doing is going the route of heavy collector, heavy rip and ship, heavy scarcity, and then when you don't have any organized play or people, then you're like, it's just the same collectors hoarding and holding on to their own stuff and not moving anything out, and then you don't have any new liquidity. Like it's like this in stocks, but or even crypto, but you know, when people are like betting, let's say the people are like getting into meme coins, and somebody's selling you up on the news, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to go from 100,000 market cap to 1 million." The new people coming in is exit liquidity. Now, you can, depending on how long you want to stay in the position, it's better or it could be worse. But for the most part, you need new liquidity in to continue to move that upwards, because only a whale can only move it up so much. Like. And that's the collector. So, hey, all I think about in my head is get the organized play running, get visuals of people playing, and that will also help make more whales feel comfortable in their position, because that's the worst thing for a whale is be the only person in the sea that they're collecting.
Yeah, they want to see liquidity. They want to see players buying up play sets, and oftentimes meta decks help influence even just like your generic rares, like playables.
Oh yeah,
you could see play. Yeah, you could just see generic playables kind of go up in price, and then all of a sudden, that's how you can kind of tell like it is actually a healthy market because people are playing the game, right? So, MetaZoo, it's only been out for what, a month now, I guess. So it's got some time, but I'd like to believe, and again, I want to give them more slack, but I also know like it's like adjusting your expectations, right? So being patient, they're a new game, but then the other aspect is like, well, they're a big game, right? They're a big company, so maybe you could. Again, I'm just trying to figure out where to fall in between that. I think Meta 1, it was easier to have more grace just because it felt like it was a freaking, cranked out in some guy's basement, which it might have just been Mike on crank in his basement, but that's a whole different kind of story, though.
That's we could probably talk about this for the entire time, all day. But
yeah, we'll get off it. Yeah,
yeah.
We like playing games. Looking forward to OP. All this stuff just comes from a place of wanting to play the game, which is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think that's what it boils down to, is we all just want to play the game. Play the game with the characters that we're familiar with. That's all.
Heck yeah. And for that, we're grateful to have that opportunity again with MetaZoo.
Very much so.
I mentioned that we cracked some Cryptid Camp the other night. I know that you still have your box, so you might do a video of that.
I do. Video coming soon.
Okay.
of a booster box unboxing. Cryptid Camp was nice enough after their interview episode to bless us with some product, some fairly coveted product. You take a look, and they didn't do a big over printing of this. It was print to order, right? So there's not a lot of these boxes that are out there unless you ordered them, unless you backed the Kickstarter and ordered it. But they were very generous in order to send us some nice, wonderful cards, a playmat, a little camp badge, which is very cute. I really like the badge. And of course, I know we talked about it whenever we talked about Cryptid Camp previous to having Emilio on, but they even sent us some air fresheners. So
that's right. That's right. Gamers, they need that. They just got to wear it like a necklace, though, not for their card.
Yeah. Or maybe they put it on their arms or like underneath their shirt. Just
oh man. Man, what's that ocean fresh scent? But yeah, no, it was, whenever we opened that product up, it felt really nice.
The box is kind of nice too. It's a little razzle dazzle.
Storage. It's not just thin cardboard that someone steps on or someone even kind of looks at and it just crumples up and then you're
Yeah.
carrying it around. It actually feels like something that you could transport your cards in.
You could put your weed in there.
You sure could. It's a very nice product, but we've been singing the praises of the product quality, ever since the promo packs that they started with. It's good quality stuff, and this shows. It did not fail to deliver whenever we initially got it. So yeah, look forward, you guys, at the time of recording this at the end of April. Look forward to the Cryptid Camp opening. It'll be a good one. They really balled out, and I'm gonna ball out too. So it'll be dope. But very cool. It was very nice.
Yeah. Let's see here. I wanted to do a quick shout out for Obscurids. They I think they have a few left of their. They have 9 left of their beta edition box on their website. So I think that's pretty cool. It's 5 ready to play decks with 40 cards each. It's kind of a commander format, or it is a commander format. It's over. I think it's like over 200 cards, right? Which is kind of cool. And I don't know, if you're looking to get into some cryptid commander, I think this is a good way to do it. I also want to shout out, they've posted in their Discord recently their booster box art for their Kickstarter coming up too. So I know that's a pretty big deal. Now for me, I'm definitely like a play box kind of person. Like maybe that's even sort of the appeal to Cryptid Camp. Shout out Kevin Cote. Basically the everything he said about it, he's like, if you really like board games, this is more for you. So I think that's kind of even the appeal to Obscures to some extent. I just like the board game feel sort of TCGs. So I'm looking forward to trying some Obscurids IRL. I think that'll be fun to get in some games at the bar.
Yeah.
And then
and they have you said, I know this is their their beta version of it, but their Kickstarter is coming up soon, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, so I'm sure we'll have them on again once their Kickstarter launches, and we can talk about it more. But I think you summed it up pretty well with calling it Cryptid Commander.
Cryptid Commander, man.
I think that's a pretty good like 2, 3, 1 phrase description of Obscurids. It's really exciting stuff. It's cool that they got there, put it into fruition, have put together a product, and it's fun. We've played it before, and can't wait to actually have the cards in hand. We've again every week we've talked about it, saying we're not playing on TTS, dog. We need them cards.
Oh man, TTS days are over for me.
We want the physical cards.
Yeah, I can't.
TTS is really on for playtesting at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're playtesting for an event and you just need to like brew the most decks in the quickest amount of time. I still have like PTSD from that shuffle sound, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh man, make it stop. Yeah. So I mean, we've been mostly centered on indie news today, so that's kind of exciting and cool. I don't know if you have any Pokemon info, Kurt. I kind of checked around. There doesn't seem anything big going around.
They had a LATAM event, Latin America event. Didn't have any coverage. Never does. A lot of my friends traveled there from DFW to compete in that one.
Oh, that's cool.
Really chasing the invite this year. A lot of the better DFW Pokemon players, and they're balling out. And it's like the equivalent of going to a nationals as far as the amount of like points. How Pokemon does their invitations for their world championships, their big events, it's points based. So the better you place at every level of tournament will determine where you stand in the rankings. It is a rankings based invitation. So the top 100 people will get an invitation to Worlds, unless you win a regional or nationals, whatever. That gives you an auto invite. But outside of that, the top 100 people will get an invite. Not 101, not 102, not 110. If you are not in the top 100, you will not be getting a Worlds invite this year. That's just how it goes. You can show up as a spectator, I guess, but they are cracking down. They want the World Championships to be much more of an exclusive experience for the players, for spectators. They really want it to be like a Pokemon convention that just so happens to have their biggest tournament of the year there. So, yeah, just some of that. I know that people are gearing up for the new Team Rocket set, both in Japan and also here in stateside. I know that a lot of the pre-orders that I've been seeing have been selling out almost instantly for the English stuff, which is kind of crazy. But hopefully it'll be a set that I can not necessarily open myself, but get my hands on the cards on the singles. Once somebody just pulls that min rarity, I'll go ahead and swoop in for the $5, grab that real quick so I can play the decks. But yeah, it's mostly been pretty quiet on the Pokemon front as people prepare for the Rocket set. So
Okay, yeah, that's all I've heard about. Rocket. It's always all the news is mostly stonk, so I'm glad that we have you here to actually talk about the game because people do play the game. It's contrary to popular belief.
So many people play the game.
Yeah.
Pokemon sells out regionals. They push 3,000 man regionals every time. I'm sure North American Intercontinentals or Nationals this year will probably hit at least 5,000 people, which is pretty crazy. These are they break records on their numbers every tournament now. Things are selling out. It's almost like One Piece levels of if you ain't in the queue in the first minute that registration opens, you ain't getting in. It's that insane of how many people want to play Pokemon for relatively no EV.
Couldn't be me, man.
We've talked about this. Unless you are very good, there is no EV in Pokemon. So, you'll know that as soon as you open a booster box of Pokemon. You will know that you will probably not make your EV back.
I want to be big fish in small pond.
That's right. And listen, unless your name is Henry Chow and you've won 3 regionals back to back, you are not the big fish in the Pokemon pond. Let me tell you.
Nah, man, I'm a little guppy, bro. Little guppy, bro. Man, well, I thought I'd share this important news with you, Kurt. You might be excited.
Okay.
I know how much you love Neopets. So,
how much money you spent on that?
Yeah.
I hate Neopets.
That's okay because we have your next game. It is the My Little Pony TCG.
What?
And it is being released in China right now and will have a global expansion and tournament system within the next few months. So keep your eyes out for My Little Pony TCG. It would be outrageous if they rolled out OP before some of the other games we're talking about.
Hey, we get My Little Pony TCG OP before GTA 6. That's crazy, bro.
They're like the China market is clamoring for an OP.
Yeah, I didn't know that the Chinese market was that interested in My Little Pony. That's more of a Western ideology, but hey, to each their own.
It's crazy. Yeah, it launched in China and then it's coming out to America. But I think that's tariff related, to be honest with you.
I
think about it. It's like
they had to launch it in China because they couldn't afford to get the cards overseas.
Exactly.
All the cards are in English.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just don't have a lot of faith in Chinese printing unless it's Bayaya. So
Bayaya.
Man, those are the days.
Unless they're behind it, it ain't for me.
Yeah, they got some like special magic with them hollows. Let me tell you. It's something about like that sticker machine, hollow pattern. That's just
man, it hits the spot.
Nostalgia bait through and through. Yeah, maybe Mexico can come through with some printing powers because we know it ain't gonna be. We ain't gonna get it stateside. Let me tell you.
Top tier quality that knows Mexican Yugioh. Hollow.
Oh man, I have a bunch of those. By the way, when I was a kid, my family from McAllen. I don't know if folks know where McAllen is. It's the border basically, like it's South Texas. And I mean, I don't know if I should be admitting this or not, but like my buddy and I, back in the day before the border was a war zone, we would walk across the border as like 14, 15-year-olds, 16, I forget what age, but like around there, we'd go and get like margaritas and butterfly knives and fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I mean, what more?
Ed's lived a life. Ed's lived a life.
What more could you want out of a Saturday afternoon?
Back in the day, man, I'm just telling you could walk across. I had no passport, nothing.
Hopping the border, drinking some margs at 16.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't card you.
They didn't care.
Of course not. No.
They knew why you were there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, that was a good time though. Anyways, those Yu-Gi-Oh cards, those are a huge part of my collection. So,
Oh yeah, your knockoffs.
dude, they might be rarer than the actual
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
a market in like every card game. There is a market for like those old knockoffs that just have like the flea market knockoffs, you know, like that. There is a pretty thriving market for people.
That third leg of the forbidden one goes hard.
Boy, hey, don't look that one up on Etsy, man.
Yeah.
The forbidden 6 piece of Exodia.
Oh man, that's so funny.
Not only do you win your current match, you also win next round as well. If you
Yeah.
assemble all 6 pieces of Exodia.
Oh man.
Holy
Good thing there was no fourth wall effects in that one.
Yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh would be fit. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh could have had some pretty cool fourth walls.
You tell me, man.
Yeah, just send them all to the Shadow Realm, dude.
Yeah. Elemental Hero Bersenatrix. Never mind, I'm not gonna go down
Yeah,
that
go
route.
for it, man.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, never mind.
Keep it rolling.
I'll let you land. Go for it, man.
I'm married. Hey, we're here for good Christian fun. So
Oh, that's great. That's good.
yeah. Speaking of Christian fun, maybe Redemption TCG will be our next game.
You know, they're direct to consumer, man. You go to their website, you can buy boxes, you can buy assorted bulk. They sell it all, dude. Maybe we'll pick up some bulk and do a Giddm plays on the Redemption TCG.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, Redemption cards look awesome. For those that don't know, Redemption TCG, it's like the Christian version of Magic. I think it's just
Quite
as
literally.
old. I think it is old as
Correct.
original. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was developed alongside I want to say the second set of Magic the Gathering as a Christian alternative to Magic. It's tale as old as time, dude, and they like have events, they have organized play, and it's just at people's houses. Like that's
yeah, homeschool kid style, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, right? Pulling up to the Redemption locals, and it's just at a guy's house that serves you, lemonade and oatmeal raisin cookies, and you're like, all right, you ready to throw down?
Dude, that's like some nostalgia for me. Everybody had, or not everybody, but that was definitely part of my childhood. You always had that one friend with like the super Christian family, and they're like,
right.
I'm like, how come all you guys Veggie Tales?
No, but the theme song slaps though.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a good one. I'm glad we could reminisce on our histories, think a little bit about these new indies, and then we talked about Pokemon. So I think the Circle of Life.
I think we checked all the boxes.
We checked a lot of boxes up. But again, from Stacking the Deck, we're not talking about anybody personally. If you want to run community owned and operated events, more power to you. We commend you. Also to those who are creating and kind of developing the organized play situation for any TCG, we have more than enough confidence in your abilities. We're just saying from our vantage point, just giving some different perspectives on that. We are not saying this to maybe give you a backhanded a compliment or jab at what you're doing. We think the world of you all, and we're just saying just some thoughts from our heads.
No, I mean I'm definitely throwing shade. So
oh yeah, you're coming for him, huh?
No. Yeah. Listen, this card market's tough. If you're making a TCG right now, shout out to you, staying alive, out there grinding. I mean, Redemption TCG's made it, so you can too.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Oh man.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for stacking. Deck.
Holy moly.
We'll get it someday.
One of these days.
All right, y'all. Talk to you later.
See y'all.
Bye.
See ya.